Hi, it's the pedal guy. It's Friday. How are you guys doing? I hope you're having a great week. I hope everybody's having a great week and a great month and just trying to cool off a little bit. It has been hot. It's been the bowels of hell here in California. Well, today we're gonna have some fun. I've got a brand new product I'm here to show you today. I even have my mixing board working now, so yeah, we're here to have a great show. We're having to have a great show. I'm here to introduce a good friend of mine, the brand new Nux Mg. It's a brand new product. We're gonna have a lot of fun. Okay, yes, I am having some fun with my mixing board. So it's a podcasting board, so it means I can have a little more fun than usual. But anyway, hope you are ready to have a good time. I'm just gonna swap things around here a little bit so we can see everything. So a couple ground rules before we get started. First and foremost, if you're here to be mean or anything like that, please don't. I would appreciate it. Let's all be kind to each other. This is an educational live stream event, and I am here to answer your questions. And on the topic of questions, I am here to answer questions specifically about the MG400. If you have questions about our other products, I will certainly try to answer them at some point during the broadcast, but I would ask that you save those questions for later, but you're always welcome to put it into the chat window, which I will open up right now. You can see it for yourself. Okay, there isn't anything here yet because nobody has written anything yet, so why don't y'all give me a shout out. Let me know you're there. Hi there, how there, ho there, what's going on? And when you do ask a question, I will see it right here in the chat window, and I will go back to it and find it when I can. So if you got questions, this is the place to ask. And then third and foremost, Gavin, what's up, buddy? How you doing? Thanks for coming by. And finally, hello from the UK. My most important rule of all the rules when I do these live stream events. Let's have fun. This is gonna be a good time, everybody. I really am excited to show you everything about the Nux Mg. As you know, I work for Nux, and I am so very happy to be a part of it. Andrew Collins, what's up, baby? How you doing? My screen's over here, so if I start looking back and forth, that's what's going on. I even have a little bit of chill music going on in the background. Isn't that nice? You can get a little groove on. Don't worry, I'll turn it off when we start playing with the unit, with the Mg400. Wow, I should really watch what I say. Okay, and that is it. So, pretty simple stuff, right? So no foul language, please. No naughty words. Keep your HBO words at home, please, if you don't mind. And for today, we are going to check out, as I mentioned before, the Mg400. Hello from Thailand. Hi from California. So we're going to be talking about the Mg400 today, and I think you're going to very much enjoy this product. I'm going to tell you all about it, what it's all about, how it works, all that great stuff. We'll just have a great time. And Kathy, I see you there too as a guest. And how are you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for coming by. We are broadcasting not just on the Pedal Guy YouTube and Facebook pages, but we're also broadcasting on the Nux Facebook page and the YouTube channel. And we're also pairing along with some of our dealers here in North America. So if you're with us, thank you for joining. I hope you enjoy today's broadcast. And you're welcome to, of course, ask any questions you may as I go through this, okay? So as you can see, the question, well, not the questions, but the hellos are starting to show up there on the side there. So keep that going, guys. And of course, you're gonna hear my doggy because, well, he's a dog, and that's what he does. When he gets frustrated, he barks. And we have another dog now too, which maybe at some point I will introduce you all. Her name is Lucy, and she's adorable. So let's go ahead and let's start talking about yeah, okay. Let's go ahead and start talking about the Mg400 here. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring in my screen. So today we're here today to talk about the Mg400 and the Mg400 schedule that we're gonna be covering today. We're gonna be talking about the layout of the product first. I'm gonna take you through a quick start of how to use it. We are going to build a preset here on the Mg400, and we could do it by either using the screen itself, or we can use the editor, which I'll also show you what that's all about. I'm going to show you how to use the looper. There is a phrase looper and drum machine inside of the Mg400. It's so much fun, and even if you don't know what the tempo is of what you're playing, hey, we might be able to tell it to you. Let's see. Tips and tricks. I'm going to show you through some of those as well, and then we'll follow it up with some Q&A at the end. So if you've got questions about other products, like I see a question about the Cerberus from Alex there, I will be answering those questions later in the broadcast, but for right now, we're going to be talking about the MG400. And so I hope you will enjoy it. So let's talk about what it is. So the MG400 is a big brother to the MG300, which I'm sure a lot of you have. I hear about it all the time. It's one of my most popular series of videos on my channel at The Pedal Guy. And well, it's a step up from the MG300. The MG400 is a dual DSP multi-effects floorboard processor. So the MG300 was a single processor. This is a double processor, so that gives you a lot more room to work with as far as the tonality of the product goes, the processing power. You can move around the signal blocks, which is really cool. So it's got a lot of things going for it, and it does have a slightly larger screen than the MG300, and it happens to have that extra foot switch there too. We have 27 amps inside of the MG400, and that's guitar amps, that's a bass amp, and that is an acoustic guitar amp. So this is a product that works great for electric guitars, acoustic guitars, and basses. So you get the best of all worlds. You also have 36 impulse responses. So you have multiple guitar cabinet impulse responses, you have multiple bass impulse responses, and you also have 3 acoustic impulse responses as well. So you can plug in your electric guitar and you can make it sound like a Martin or a Taylor, or a Gibson Hummingbird if you want to. All of that's in there. Isn't that cool? There is also 48 effects, and that's everything from your basic noise gate and EQ, to your overdrive, distortion, fuzz, to your modulation effects, to your delay effects, to your reverb effects. All of that's in there, and they're all movable along the signal path. Wait till I show you how that works. And there is also an editor for your Mac or your PC. Now I know a question that's going to come up is there an iOS or an Android version? No, there isn't, not currently. Maybe there will be, I don't know. I'm the last to find out about those kind of things, so that's where we stand on that. It is a phrase looper as well, meaning that you can record loops on the fly on the MG400 while it's turned on. And it will stay on, it'll be there while it's turned on. And it runs independently of the presets, which is also a very powerful feature that not many people understand what that means. I may dig into that a little bit and tell you later. But it's a phrase looper, meaning that once you turn it off, you turn the unit off, you have to start from scratch again. But that's how a phrase looper works. And finally, it is a USB-C audio interface. So you can use this as a straight up audio interface for your guitar. You can reamp with this as well. So you can take a track that's been recorded and then reprocess it through the MG400 and re-record it onto another track, which is pretty awesome. And in some cases, I've even shown people on occasion how to use this as an audio interface for your voice. All you need is an impedance converter, and you can actually use the processors of the MG400 as a vocal processor. So that's a neat little tip and trick right there. I may talk about that a little bit later. I see that we got a lot of stuff coming up here. Charles, how you doing, buddy? Alex, see you there. So many people are here right now. Wow, this is fantastic. Okay, so we're done with that part. Let me show you the editor right now. I can go ahead and let's bring that sucker up. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Ah, yes, I forgot. I need to stop sharing here, and I need to bring up the old editor there. So let's bring that guy up. Bada bing, bada boom. There it is. So there's the editor. It's called the QuickTone editor. I will take you through it, show you what's going on with it, and show you how to use it. So I hope you are sitting down and ready to watch this. And don't worry, when you watch it later on YouTube, I will put time markers in there so that you can see, so you can jump to your favorite part. Okay. All right, now let's go ahead and get rid of that guy, and let's go ahead and keep bringing it on, people. Keep bringing on the comments, the questions, all of that. Woo! and we'll cover all of it as we go along here. Yes. I was gonna do this last week, in fact, but as I mentioned, it was so hot in here, down here at the beach. It was just so bloody hot in here. The studio was on fire. I could hardly do anything. But it was insane, so we had to put it off by a week. But I'm so very glad that you're here with us today. Okay, so let's talk about yes, I have 2 cameras, isn't that cool? Let's talk about the layout of the MG400 so you can dig on how this is all set up. Okay, so at the far left, we have the scroll up, scroll down buttons, and these are for the presets that are inside of the MG400. It goes up in banks of 4. You have 16 banks of 4 presets per bank, so you've got plenty of room to work with. You can see that we even included a groovy little foot topper for the pedal there as well. It's glued on there, so don't try to pull that off, please. Somebody tried to do that earlier when I first got this, and my heart almost skipped a beat there at that point. But there you have it. Anyway, moving to the right, we have 2 other foot switches here which do multiple things. As you know, if you've been using Nux products for a long time, we put secondary features into all of our products one way or another. So there's going to be a secondary function when it comes to foot switches and all that. So right from here, we have the Control 1 and Control 2 foot switches. These perform a couple of different things. One is, so in this case, there's actually 3 functions. You press both of them and you get a tuner. It's a chromatic tuner, bass. It works with bass, it works with guitar, all that great stuff. The other thing it also does is it works as turning off and on the tap tempo or whatever else you may assign to it. The same thing goes for controller 2. You can use this to toggle between scenes. You can use this to do a couple of other assignments, and I will take you through that. And this also works with the looper. So you can set the tempo, you can loop, you can do all sorts of great stuff with it. You can see I've just gone ahead and let's get rid of that one there. Yes, hey, boom, there we go. Okay, cleared that sucker out. We have tap tempo and all that good stuff. Well, don't worry, we'll talk about all that. Now, in addition to that, let's go ahead and go to the top. At the top, we have a very nice, wonderful display screen here. It's much larger than the one that's found on the MG300, but we have a lot more going on under the hood here, and we'll, of course, get into all of it. We have our knobs here at the bottom. So we have a select knob. This is a rotary encoder, so you can use this to scroll up and down the presets if you want to, if you're editing parameters, if you're choosing different signal blocks along the path, all of that's done right here. And it is a rotary encoder, so you can go in and you can make edits at will and select different things. We have 3 tweaking knobs here, 3 edit knobs to the right, and these are assigned to parameters based on whatever module you have open. And it will make sense, I promise. Now, we also have a series of buttons here at the right, far right, along with the master volume knob. We have our mode, and this is where we can determine if we're working in as in a studio interface, if you can work with with amps as far as like combos, or you work with stacks. We'll delve into that maybe. We can save, we can edit. If we want to change globally any of the parameters, we can hit the 2 first switches there and do a global edit. I will show you something here in a second that you're going to need to do the second you get the MG400. We have our jam section, and this is where the drum machine and the phrase looper are built in. And you've got your tap tempo. So you can tap tempo if you want to. Now I'll tell you a quick little thing about the looper. You don't need to know the tempo of what you're playing. The looper here can actually detect what you're playing, what tempo you're playing, and will play the drum kit accordingly to that. So I'm not BSing at all on that. That's true. We have the pedal button, and this is just basically an indicator to let you know when the expression pedal over here to the right is engaged. And then we have our control, and we have our navigation buttons. So our control button enables us to assign the 2 foot switches here to various parameters inside of the MG400. And when we build a preset in a second, you'll see how that works. Okay, so it is way easy to navigate through this. And let's go ahead and just, that's the basic layout. On the back, I'm sorry, I forgot to talk about the back. On the back, you have your input, you have an auxiliary input, you have a headphone output, you have a left-right pair out. This is a really good thing. The MG300 had a stereo pair out on a TRS output. I find this to be a little easier. There's also a USB-C port on the back. We do provide a USB-C cable. That's not this one. This is a USB-C to USB-C cable, which I find works a little better in my particular setup, but it does range from setup to setup. And you have your power switch and, you know, the very exciting power supply at the end of all of it. So there you have it. All right, it is time to stop talking. It's time to plug in and give you a listen to what this sounds like, and we'll start talking about it. So let me get my trusty Gibson out here. Now, let's see if we got any quick questions here that I can answer before I get into it here. So, Charles, definitely. We'll talk soon, I promise. Okay, can you make a comparison between the MG30 and this one? Yeah, I can talk about that at the end, I will. Oh, this is one I always see all the time. Let me call this one out really quick. So we get a question about, I'm assuming, Jesus, you're asking about, is there going to be an MG40? To my knowledge right now, no, there is not. So let's put that one to bed right now here. And there'll be, yeah, there's some other stuff here to talk about too. So let's keep the questions coming. Let's keep talking. I promise that I'll get to each and every person that I can and answer the questions. I was actually going to use my Yamaha Strat today. You may have seen it in some of my earlier videos. I had it serviced, and I think that the humidity in here is just wreaking havoc on the tuning because it's still slipping out of tune a little bit too much for me. So I figured we'll go with the old standby here, my Gibson, which of course I love this. I love this guitar so much. So let's go ahead and turn it up and let's bring the guitar in. Oopsie. All right, let's just make sure we're in tune. We love, by the way, I'm using the Flow Tune clip from Cherub, which of course is us, if you didn't know that already. And the cool thing about this tuner in particular is that it does, for acoustic players and specifically, it does what's called compensated tuning, also known. Okay, that's pretty good. Close enough for jazz, as the saying goes. Let me show you what that box looks like, by the way. So that's it right there, the Flow Tune clip. This is brand new, it just hit the market. And the cool thing about this tuner is, especially if you're an acoustic player, it does what's called compensated tuning, which is also known as the James Taylor tuning. And it basically compensates the strings a couple of cents per string so that it adapts to your playing style more or less. So if you tune the low E string down a little bit more and you're playing it really hard, it'll always sound like it's in tune because you've compensated for the variations in your playing. And I know it sounds like a bunch of baloney, doesn't it? But you know what? It actually works. It's pretty darn cool. Okay, that's good enough for me. Okay, can you guys hear it? Please let me know if you can hear it. Give me a little sign there, everybody. Type it in. Okay, Kathy, I saw the thumbs up there. Woohoo! All right, no problem, good. Let me swap these around because you don't need to see my mug while we're doing this. You're here to see the MG400, damn it, not me. Okay. Okay, so let's go ahead and get in here. So to navigate up and down the presets, all you have to do is simply use the buttons here, the foot switches. So you've got down, you've got up. You can also, I could have just used the tuner here, by the way, too, instead of making a shameless plug for the Flow Tune clip. But nevertheless, you press both of them to get into the tuner, press both of them to get out of the tuner. Now, if we want to navigate through all the presets, let's take a look at some of those presets. Sorry, guys. Okay, that'll work for now. I know we'll probably have to do something with it later, but nevertheless, let's take a look at some of these presets. So we've got plenty of things to work with here. And this is chop tones. A lot of the presets, in fact, all of the presets were made by us. They were actually made by our artists. So chop tones is one of our artists. Sophie Burrell. If you haven't watched her channel, it's a fantastic one. There's also Rob Chapman. And if you don't know who Rob Chapman is, you've been living in a cave for the last couple of years. Okay, so you can go through all the presets if we want to, but we only have, you know, just so many minutes together. Okay, so we'll have a little bit of fun with it later when I show you how to build a preset, because it is a lot of fun to use. Okay, so if we want to start editing any of these presets, all we have to do is just go to the, we can go here and hit the select button, and we can then toggle through all of the different signal blocks that are in the signal path. That's one way you can do it. Another way you can do it is with the editor, and I will show you that in a second, but I want to show you everything from here. The most important thing to note is that basically anything I do inside of the MG400, you can do it either here on the MG400 or with the editor. It doesn't matter. The editor is on my other screen right here. You'll see it when I bring it up in a minute. Oh, turn that background music off. Thank you, Alan. I totally forgot that was still on. How about that? Yeah. Yeah. What, you don't want to hear chill down-tempo music while I'm playing this? No, say it isn't so. Now, I did promise there was one thing I needed to show you. It's very important before you start using the MG400. What you need to do is you need to calibrate the expression pedal here to the side. So the way we would do that is we press down both the save and the edit button simultaneously, and then we use the toggle buttons to go over to the expression pedal, and we go ahead and use the select knob, and we don't want to do the expression independent with patch at this time, but what I do want to do is I want to calibrate. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the Control 2 button, and what it asks you to do is first set the expression pedal to its lowest setting, hit the Control button once, go to its highest setting, hit it again, and then what it wants you to do is simulate how much pressure you're going to put on it when you want to turn the pedal off and on. I'm doing this with my arm, so it looks really like I'm flexing. Yeah, okay, there you go. So it saves, boom, you're done. Now it's calibrated, and it's also, the wah pedal is also turned on. Let's turn that off, right? But now we have a very nice smooth expression move there. Okay, so if we want to get into some of the other features here, let's take a look. Let's see, what do we want to do here? So if we want to get into, let's get back into that editor really quick. So from here, what we can do is we can navigate through all of the active signal blocks where we can turn off and on various signal blocks or effects processors. In this case, I've got the EQ selected here, so I can make my adjustments to it if I want to. That's one thing I can do. Again, you can do this from either the MG400 itself or from the editor. It doesn't matter. You can navigate through all of the signal blocks that you want. You can also press and hold the select button. You can see very slightly here that the arrow above the selected signal block is turned red, so you can then start moving it if you want to. Well, actually, there you go. You can start moving it along the signal path if you want to. So that means that you can actually take anything in the signal path and you can actually move it around. So you can rearrange everything. If you're familiar with the MG30, this is something we do with the MG30, and it really makes it cool because if for some bizarre reason you want to put the reverb before the amp, you can do that. That's the fun stuff, okay? Let's talk about something else here. Let's talk about, let's actually go into the modes here really quick. So in the upper right corner, we have the mode switch. Now the mode button. Now what the mode button does is the mode button sets how the output of the MG400 will work. Now in this case, it's set to Studio Direct. And when it's in Studio Direct, that means everything's turned on. So you've got your effects processors, your amps, your cabinets, all of that's turned on. And that's with the intention of using it in a studio environment where you need everything to be firing off. However, if you're playing live and you're using an amplifier, well, that's different because you don't want to have a cabinet turned on the MG400 going into an amplifier. You're just going to be rubbing the sound out and it will not sound good. I promise you. So what we need to do here is if we want to change that, we just use the select knob and we can go to what's called combo front, meaning that the output of the MG400 will go into the front of your amplifier. You can also go into the stack front. So if you're working with a stack with a head and a cabinet, you can go into the front as well. Or you can go into combo rear, which means you're going into the effects return on the back of the unit. And that's actually a little more advantageous because what it does is what you do by working with the effects return, if you haven't done this before, I'm sure that a lot of you have done this and I'm probably preaching to the choir here a little bit, but if you do use the combo rear, essentially you're bypassing the preamp and the EQ section of the amplifier itself. And you just are using it simply as a power amp and a cabinet. And then you've got the stack rear. Now, when you're using the combo rear, whether you're using the rear or the front modes, essentially you are, what the MG400 does is it turns off the cabinet, the IR, the impulse response, all of that's turned off. So you've got the amp, you've got your effects, but you don't have the cabinet because your amp is supposed to do the driving for that part. Okay, so you also have 3 additional parameters here. So once you've selected which mode you want to work with, you can then set the EQ curve. So you can go low, mid, high if you want to. If you go in here and you want to, say, check it out, see how it sounds, you don't like it, you say, I don't want to set everything back to 0 one at a time. Well, just use the select button. Just press the rotary encoder here, the select button, just push it, and it goes back to return to 0. You can see a little R there in the lower right corner, the lower left corner. Sorry, can we tell our left from our right? I don't know. Anyway, that's how that works. Now, in addition to this, let's talk about the 2 foot switches down here at the bottom. So the 2 foot switches can be used to, as you've seen, access the tuner, and it'll also work for the looper, the drum machine, and the looper. And what it also does is these 2 foot switches can be used to assigned to do various tasks. For example, we have scenes here. Now, scene, if you've ever watched any of my videos, let me turn that down so we don't hear it. If you've ever watched any of my videos about scenes, scenes are what I like to call a preset within a preset. Meaning you're taking the master preset, in this case, old clean, and what you're doing is you're creating 3 snapshots within that preset. So you can have 3 variations in one preset, and it just makes it so much easier when you're playing live, because if this one's set to scenes, which it is, what I can do is I have one scene where it's very plain Jane, and then I can move to scene 2, which has a couple of extra effects on it, and then I can move to scene 3, which has another effect on it. So essentially you can have 3 variations within one preset. So that's why I call it 3 presets within one preset. And I think that is one of the more powerful features. Now the other foot switch here can be used to do a variety of different things. In this case, it's being used to assign to the tap tempo. So I can use this to set a new tap tempo. So everything that's time-based inside of the MG400, so like a delay or something like that, will sync in time with the tempo. So you can also use this for other things as well, though. If you go to the control foot switch, you can actually assign these to other features if you want. So you can set the first foot switch to say tap, which is what it's set to by default. You can turn on any of the different parameters or any of the other different effects inside of the MG400 preset. Now, a lot of people, now take a second, think about that for a quick minute, okay? This is something everybody asks all the time about the MG300. Can you do that with the MG300? No, you can't. You can't do that unless you put like an extra peripheral on there and you start using the MIDI functionality. And it's a genuine pain in the butt. So I don't recommend it unless you really want to geek out. But essentially, you can use the control foot switch to, we could turn this to say the effects block, which in this case would be like an overdrive or distortion. So you can turn off and on that distortion. Go back out to the signal block here and you can see that it turns that off and on. See, it's turning on, it's turning off, it's turning on, it's turning off. So that's what you can do. A lot of people have asked for that with a couple of our other products, and it's here. It's already here. Now, if you want to set the second foot switch to something else other than the scenes, let's go over to that one there. Okay, there we go. You can see that I can use the select knob, and I can select any signal block I want. I can also go to what's called scene 3 on off. So what this means is, if I go back to the top menu here, if I scroll through, you can see we're going to scene 1, scene 2, scene 3. A lot of people ask, can you jump back and forth? Well, not with 3 scenes. It doesn't scroll up and scroll down. It just goes down and then recycles and goes back up to the top and goes down again. However, if you can live with 2 scenes and you don't need 3 scenes, that's not a problem. Just go in there and just select what you want. So you can turn this to scene 3 off, go back out, and now scene 1, scene 2, jumps back to scene 1, scene 2. It just makes life a little easier. But just remember that you need to save whenever you do that. Okay, so you go up here, you hit the save button, hit save, you can rename it if you want to, hit it again, save the preset, and there you go. So I should also mention that you have the default presets that come with the MG400, and then you have your own slots to pop in your own presets if you want to, and that's what we're going to do next. All right, so what I'm going to do here is, actually I didn't like what that, after I made those edits, I didn't like that very much. Woohoo! Okay, let's see. Let's see, I got some questions here I want to answer because I think these are a little important here. Okay, so here's a question from Andrew Collins. What if you're using the FR speakers? Well, you would probably, in this case, Andrew, you would probably use, you could use Studio Direct. That would be okay because it's not really a cabinet at that point, but you want to get some of the cabinet sound in there. It does come down to experimentation a little bit. So I would probably suggest starting with Studio Direct and then go from there. But just, treating the FR like a studio monitor because that's what it is, flat response, full frequency. That's what the FR is all about. So there you have it. I hope that helps you. Actually, Hillbrook Guitar Studio actually answered that question as we went through it. So there you go. All right, how about that? What do you think, Kathy? You having fun? All right. And I see, who else do I see down there as one of my guests here? I see Main Stage Music there. How you doing, buddy? All right. I can see everybody. I'm just not bringing you in as a guest. I hope you don't take that offensively. Okay. Anyway, here we go. I want to talk about the editor. Okay. So Darius, how you doing? Editor here. This is the QuickTone editor. If you are familiar with our MG300 or MG30, this should seem very, very straightforward. But this is how we edit all of our presets, and this is where you can also scroll through it. What I like about our editor, and this isn't a lie. What I like about the editor is this. I like the fact that it's easy to use And if you are navigating through this, we don't go too deep, okay? There's a couple editors out there, and I'm not gonna say who it is, but because I'm not here to trash other products, because they all do great stuff, but I just happen to think we do it a little better in certain regards. And this is one of those places where I think we do it better, is that the editor is easy to navigate through. Everything looks like a pedal. There's no nonsense. There's no confusion. And you can also use the MG400 in combination with the let's see, I'm trying to navigate through here. There we go. You can use it in combination with the QuickTone editor. So you can actually make everything work very quickly. And I think that's wonderful. That's one of the things that really makes it fun. So what I can do is I can navigate all the way here to the end, or I can just go ahead and use my mouse. So I'll just do that. But if I want to turn anything on, just select it, turn it on, or turn it off, turn it on, turn it on, turn it off. It's just like using a pedal. So there's no real surprise there. And you can make the adjustments quite easily. You can make it with your mouse. You can use the knobs on the MG400. You can see that those adjustments are being made in real time. You can navigate through here where you've got your compression. You can see that we have 3 compressors here. If I go to the effects, which is used for the, this is where you'll find the compression. This is where you'll find the distortions, the overdrives, the fuzz, all that fun stuff. And even a touch wah. Yeah, we have a touch wah. It's awesome. That's here. And you can make all the adjustments you want to. I'm going to keep going here. Let's see. The Steel Singer, it's one of my favorites, of course. Then we have our amps. Now, here's where the fun starts, everybody. When we go to the amps, look at these amps. Look how many amps I got. Look at all these. I know you're seeing it on a small screen there, but this is like one of the coolest things about it, is there's so many amps to choose from here. And you've got all of your guitar amps are right here. Everything from, say, a JC120. We're using a Buddha amp here. You've got Dr. Z. You've got all of your Marshalls, everything. And then you've got the MLD, which is the Melvin Lee Davis bass preamp. So if you have ever used that pedal, what a great pedal that is. And you also have the Stageman amp so that you can use this with an acoustic guitar. Now, moving to the right, we have our cabinet. And with our cabinet, you can select a whole host of different cabinets there. These are all the impulse responses that we include. And it includes everything from guitar impulse responses to bass impulse responses to the acoustic guitar impulse responses. And you can also bring in your own if you want to. I'm going to go back to this one, though. So let's go back. Well, we can choose anything, actually. So that's the Zen, or maybe we just said, hey, you know what? I want it to go into a Greenback 4x12. Why not? You know, it's a free world. Have a little fun with it. Then you've got the microphones. And down here, you've got 4 microphones to choose from. Once you select the microphones, you can move the mic positioning anywhere you want along the cabinet. That's the kind of versatility we're talking about here. It really is very, very cool to do all this stuff. Move to the right, we've got our EQ. Use with caution, this will get loud, people. I'm not even kidding about that. You'll peel the paint off the walls with this sucker. And we have 2 variations on that, by the way. We have a 6-band and a 10-band EQ. Then we have our modulation effects. And we have, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong thing here. There we go, modulation effects, there we go, now we're there. Okay, so we have everything from harmony, we have a rotary effect, we have chorusing, flanging, detuning, everything in between, all the fun stuff we do. And then we got our delays, and we've got analog delay, we've got a reverse delay, we've got phi delay, we got a tape echo, modulation. Honestly, after using all of this, if you can't get a good sound out of this, I'll honestly be very, very surprised. You have your room reverb, you've got hall, plate, spring, shimmer, and damp. And then you also have a signal block here on the end that handles the patch level. So when you're using this, you can set the patch level, and it works in combination with the, there's my dog, with the expression pedal. So there's so much that you can do here. That's the point that I'm getting at. So that's the top level. Now what you can do is you can also choose the presets from this window if you'd like to. You can export them. You can go to the drum and loop. As I said, everything that was inside of the screen here, the module, it's all reproducible both ways. You've got your expression pedal assignments. Remember I just took you through those on the unit itself. You can do it here on the editor. You can export, you can import, you can save, you can change your settings. Now, this is something that is somewhat unique to the editor that you can do it inside of the MG400, a little easier here, but you can set up your USB recording levels. You can do your routing. So if you want to use loop backing for streaming, you can do that here. You want to use this as a reamping device, you can do that too. And you can also see the two CPUs are working here, barely at this point, but they're working. That's the main part of it. And then of course you've got the scenes right here, which you can select either by clicking on them or by using the foot switches. So that in essence is what the navigation of the MG400 is all about. So now, how about we build a preset instead of yakking all day, right? Okay, so first things first, I'm gonna turn the volume down on this guy. And the reason being is because it is pretty loud. Now, a lot of people ask this all the time. How do I start with a plain preset? And this applies to, again, the MG30, the MG300, and the MG400. It's the same all around. And I wanna try to answer that quickly. The best thing to do is just go through and bypass everything. What I like to do, I know this is kind of analog to do it this way, but this is the way I do it, is I just go through, I bypass it, I bypass all the modules so that I just have a very bare bone vanilla sound. Yeah, it still is. Sorry, guys. Okay, we will make that work. All right. But this is the way that I start. So once I've done this, what I will do is I will save it. Now I'm going to go to save, and I'm going to save as, and I'm going to select the location. Now the location can be anywhere you want here. I'm just going to keep it right where it is, and I'm going to rename it, and I'm going to call it TPG plain. Okay, the most exciting name that I could possibly ever come up with. All right. Now, if any of you have watched my live streams before, I ham it up a lot, but you know, I got to keep you interested because this is it's a freaking video. It's a freaking tutorial after all. I mean, you know, we're not here to tell jokes. I mean, we could, but we're not going to do that. We're just going to have a little fun and try to you know, educate you guys in the process. So what I'm going to do now is navigate back over here, and I'm going to start with selecting an amp. We're going to select an amp, and I am going to select a Tweedy because I happen to like the Tweedy amps. Okay, I'm going to turn that volume up a little bit. Okay, I'm going to turn that tone down a little bit. Actually, you know what? I'm going to deviate from the norm here a little bit. Normally it's where I go, but you know what? I'm going to merry old England. I'm going to go to the Vox amp here. So you know, you can start playing some of them Beatle licks. I have to be a little careful. YouTube will not mute me, but Facebook, oh man, they will do it. What a pain in the butt. Anyway, all right, so let's just dial in a sound here real quick that we're happy with. Okay, top boost. Let's take the bass up a little bit. Tone cut. Okay, that will work for me. Now, what I also like to do, this is more of a philosophy. Okay, so follow me on this one. The philosophy is I use a microphone as a source of EQ. You may not agree with me. You may say, pedal guy, you are out of your flipping mind. And I'll say, well, what took you so long to figure that out? But what I tend to use is go to the microphones here, and I like to use the microphone as a source of EQ because each microphone has a different frequency capture. right? So if I go to the C414, that's going to sound a lot different than, say, the E908. Or the SM57. It will sound different, and you can make that work to your advantage. Now you can also move the microphone, and that will also change things. Or you could just be that person, and you could just go for a completely different cabinet if you want to. I don't know, let's see, let's go to a 414. Nah, I'm not liking that. Yeah, why not? Okay, we'll work with it. So I always like to put in a little bit of, I always like to put a little noise gate in there. Oh yeah, there he is. Okay, finally it's locked in. This is a public service announcement for Humidity. Humidity, I don't like you. I don't care for you. Please get out of my guitars and never come back. Like that's ever gonna happen. All right, righty. Okay, so I've got some, we have some noise gate now. Maybe turn the K up there a little bit. Okay, now I'm gonna skip over the compression. I'm gonna skip over the compression for now. I do not personally put too much compression into my signal path unless I really want to do it. I want to show you how to set this up fast though. So I'm gonna go to effects here, and I am going to find an effect that I want to use. So I'm not going to use the muff, but I'm not going to use that for this one. Let's use something else. Let's use, yep, no muff. I'm with you on that one. I don't know. Morning drive, why not? Now I realize you're also hearing my voice while this is going on. That's the magic of mixers, everybody. All right, so we'll stick with this for now. Little tip and trick, do make sure you keep saving. Don't forget to save. You don't want to do that. Okay, well, we've already done the amp. We've done the cabinet. Let's go to the EQ. Now, when I say this one's pretty powerful, I am not kidding. Let me turn that up a little bit. You guys ever seen Brickleberry? You know, Dr. Kuzniak? I'm not kidding. All right. All right, if that doesn't get you. All right, from this. EQ can be your friend. You just need to know how to use it effectively. No pun intended, or maybe pun intended, I don't know. All right, let's see. Let's go from there to modulation. Now, I would like to bring in the Phase 90. I love the Phase 90. Now, you also, of course, when you're streaming, you do want to be careful about your volume levels. So if you're like into the whole Ted Nugent sound, you can do that quite easily. Now let's go over to delay. Now I am a big old delay head. I love delay. Let me show you what some of these sound like. now you can see we are having a little bit of volume here, and this is why the EQ can be a little temperamental, and that's why you want to be careful with it. And maybe go back over here to the amp and turn that master down just a touch. Yeah, there we go. What do you guys think? That's pretty cool, right? Let's see. So if you want to change the pan time, you can do that quite easily. That doesn't sound like fun, though. I like this one. Sounds like its mouth. It's going. All right. And then we've got our reverb. Now, one of my favorites is the plate. I love some plate. Now, playing AC/DC riffs with the delay on is almost sacrilegious, so this would be a good point for us to then save this. And now, let's set up some scenes. Okay, so we have got our sound. It is pretty rockin' like dockin'. So what we want to do, yes, I did say rockin' like dockin'. Now, if I want to turn these effects off, I'll go ahead and turn them off. And I'm going to just come up with a sort of a plain Jane sound here from everything that I got. Okay, so we got that. What we want to do now is we want to save, because we're going to save this as it is now. And now I'm going to move over to scene 2. And in scene 2, I want the effect of the overdrive effect to still be turned off, but now I want to turn on the phase 90, and I still want the reverb on, and no, I'll keep the delay off for this one. So let's save again. So now when I go from scene 1 to scene 2, check it out. Okay, and now scene 3, and in scene 3, I'm still gonna turn off the overdrive effect, and I promise I'll tell you why in a second. I'll turn on the delay, obviously, the delay, and I'm gonna save it again. And so now I have 3 presets. What do you guys think? Say something! Speak to me! Let me know what you think. All right. Smoke them if you got them, right? Wow, did I have my Wheaties this morning or what? Okay, now you're asking, okay, why did I do that? Why did I? Well, because I want the first foot switch, I want this to be assigned to the effects, so that I always have the ability, no matter what scene I'm in, turn it off. Go to another scene. Isn't that fun? Man, I love what I do for a living. This is the best part of my job, is just to play with gear all day. Gee, what an awful existence we have here in music, right? Good Lord. Okay, what else do I want to show you from the editor here? Let's go. Nope, not there. Let's move over back to the MG400. Let's go back to the MG400 now, and let's talk about the looper. Okay, so I'm going to go into the jam section here, and let's see if I can actually pull this off. Yeah, I think we can actually do this. Let's move this over a little bit, because you don't need to see else. You just need to see this. is what I want you to see. So how's that look? Is everybody seeing that? Give me a shout out. Let me know. And Red, I want to answer your question because you asked an important one here. Red asks, can you use this as an audio interface to the computer? Yes, you can. You can use this as an audio interface. You can use it as a reamping device. I'm too excited. I probably need to put a little more decaf in my diet, but hey, what are we gonna do? Anyway, so little hard to see here because the screen brightness here, but let me just break it down for you. So and okay, let's hide that sucker right there. And keep the questions coming, guys, because I answer the questions momentarily. So the loop, this is your drums, this is your loop. If you just want to use it as a drum machine, you can start playing the drums back. Okay, this is the whitest rhythm known to man. Right, and you can just riff over if you want to. You can do that if you want to. But more importantly, you can also change the different style within. And let's also make sure that we know that we can turn that down. Yep. Okay, so we can change, we can select different variations within that genre. So you've got rock, you've got smooth. Okay, or you can just simply move over to a different, you can move over to a different style. There you go. Actually, that's not too bad. Okay, I know that's not a traditional blues pattern, but close enough though, yes? Okay, let's go back to, all right, so we'll just do that. Now, let's say that you want to, okay, I will show you something actually in the editor here in a second. Let's say you don't know the tempo of what you're gonna loop, right? So you're not sure what you're gonna loop, but you want to loop something and then have the drum machine loop to it in tempo and time. What you can actually have, you can put the riff in within some idea of the tempo, you know, so you put that in and then hit the drum machine and it will follow along with that. Now, one thing you can do in the editor, let me bring the editor back up here real quick. So there's the editor. God, I love Restream. It is working so well today. Whew, it was a pain in the butt before. But what we can do here is we can actually change between, okay, you can change between normal record and auto record. So I'm going to go ahead and also select stereo auto record. I am cutting cut. Oh, I'm cutting out. Is that what you're saying, Andrew? I'm trying not to, and it comes down to the interwebs, so hopefully that won't be a problem. Out. Okay, gotcha. All right, so there it is. I'm going to go ahead and start looping. So let me turn off the edit screen here. Bring that back up. Okay, there we are. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and loop. So what I'll do is start record. So it's now in a wait mode. It's going to wait until I start playing something, and then I'll loop, and hopefully the 400. So here we go. Right, pretty straightforward. Let's see if the drums pick it up. It worked! All right, now if we want to change the volume of the loop, we can do that. We can bring the drums up. Now, I turn quick second because I want to just talk about this. Now, remember I said a little earlier about, I was talking a little earlier about the phrase looper running independently of the signal blocks or the preset I'm selecting. Well, the reason I say this is because, well, you know, the thing is that there are other products that are actually quite a bit more expensive than the MG400. And when you start looping in those products, you have to stay in that preset. But who wants to do that? Maybe while I'm listening, I want to go to a completely different preset. Well, that's easy. Just go to the outside to back to the top level, select another preset. Okay, so you're getting what I'm talking about here? When you work independently, when the looper works independently of the preset, you can go and you can actually do things like, you know, I could go select, like, say, a clean layer, like a clean patch, like this one. So if I want to, say, loop that in, I can layer it on. So now it's looped in. Now if you want to stop it, just hit it twice, once, and a reset, and it will clear the, it'll clear. Now you can also, if you want to, you can also do an undo, redo. That's also included on the looper as well. Now there is one thing I did forget to mention about the signal blocks, and I so want to show this to you. I did show you a little bit on the screen here, but let's get back out to the main window here. And hello, there we are. Okay, and let's bring the editor back up. So while I'm setting this up, give me a shout out, guys. What'd you think of that? Is that cool or what? It is awesome. All right, now, as I mentioned before, what you can do with the editor, if you want to, you can move the signal blocks anywhere you want along the path. So let's say you want that reverb. For some bizarre reason, you want that reverb to come before the amplifier. Click and drag. Ooh, isn't this hard? That's, of course, the worst reverb in the world to try to use this with. So maybe the spring reverb. Bring that up. Obviously, you don't want to do that. It would be better if it was over here, but there are no rules. We can bring the modulation before the amp. You can hear that they sound remarkably different. Let me go ahead and click that again. Right? You hear how it sounds different? But that's the magic of it. So you can actually change anything you want and just have a lot of fun with it. That's what it's all about, guys. I do love the looper. It is, and working with this stuff, it is a lot of fun. Now, I said I would go through some tips and tricks, but I've kind of been sharing that as we've been going through here with all of this. Let me move the unit back over here a little bit. Well, I tell you, sometimes when you're on glass and you're trying to move the rubber bottoms on these things. The reamping is something we definitely need to talk about at some point, but the control is actually what I wanted to talk about for the tips and tricks, so we kind of already covered that a little bit. But let's go in here and see if there's anything we need to discuss here. There is an input trim, so you can select your input trim, and that will adjust, of course, the volume, the incoming volume. And You want to be, of course, careful about this. You don't want to clip in the digital realm. And as I mentioned before, if you ever want to reset it quickly, if you ever see that little R button there, just press the rotary encoder and it resets to 0. So that is pretty hot. Let's take a look at USB over here and see what this is all about. So here's where you've got it. So the routing mode, you can set it up to so you can, in fact, as I mentioned before when we were talking about, you know, what can you do between the MG400 unit and then, like, say, the editor, you can go to the routing mode here inside. You can change it from dry out to normal to reamp if you want to. You've got your play level and your record level. Again, you've got that reset button, so you can always reset it to 0 if you want to. So there's that. Let's see, anything else we should talk about? Nah, not really at the moment. But you know about the scenes now. The scenes are, like, really one of the coolest things about it. When you can toggle between all the scenes and create a whole different preset within the preset. And if you're not familiar with us, and I think, let me just take off the headphones at this point because we pretty much have talked out all the features. Let's turn that volume down too so you don't hear it. But when we're talking about, all right, so let me do this too. Whoop, swap it around, bring that in. Oh, man, I love when this stuff, I love the streaming side of things. This is just so much fun. So I lost my train of thought there. But if you're familiar, now I remember. So if you are new to all of this and you need help, one of the things that we do is we have a bunch of different Facebook user groups out there. So we have Facebook user groups for everything you can think of. So from the Cerberus to the MG30 to the MG300 to the MG400 to the Mighty Plug, like the Mighty Plug Pro. Remember this guy? Yep, it hasn't gone away. It's brand new. And selling like hotcakes, I might add. But we have all of that. And you can go in and ask the questions, and they will definitely get answered by somebody either from our group. We have moderators, or it'll be answered by somebody else who's in the group and a member of the group. Everybody helps each other, and I just love that. It really creates that wonderful synergy just to make it nicer for everybody, right? I think it just makes it a lot nicer for everybody, and it's important, you know? So at this point, what I want to do is I want to start answering some questions because we got a lot of them here since I started, and I want to make sure that I get to everybody that I possibly can. I have a huge, I have a queue here on the side that's been updating as I've been going through this. So let me just go ahead and go through some of these. And there's some questions about the other products. I'm going to answer them after I answer the MG400 specific questions first, okay? So if you got questions, now's the time to start asking, okay? So let's go through this. Let's go through this. We have people from all over the world today, too. That's so wonderful. That's the other beautiful thing about doing these live streams. I just love it. Okay. All right, so Neil's music. I love that you can use it in a podcast. Yes, you can absolutely use it in a podcast. Now, I should say in my setup here, I'm using it with the mixer. So I'm going from the MG400 to a mixer that's USB, and it's going through my computer, and that's what's broadcasting out. So just keep in mind that that's how you'd want to use it if you're going to be podcasting. But yes, you can absolutely do it that way if you want to. And I'm using a Zoom LiveTrack L8, which is actually pretty cool because, you know, you have the silly sound effects, right? You have that, and there's a whole bunch of other things that it does too. But it's just pretty easy to use, pretty simple and straightforward, and it's also bus powered, so it's a little nicer for me at least. Okay, let's see. I'm going to keep going through. Okay, Angel likes it. He says it's an amazing pedal. Angel, I agree with you. It is an amazing pedal. Okay, here's a question. Marcelo asked, can you please make a comparison between the MG30 and this one? Okay. Well, you asked for it, kiddies, because I just so happen to have the my old compadre right here, the MG30. Well, okay, what am I going to say about this? Okay, so I'm going to talk about a couple of very quick things. First and foremost, this is a metal chassis. The MG400 and the MG300 are a plastic chassis, but the MG30 is a metal chassis. So it depends on your usage if that's what you want to do. As far as the CPU usage goes, it's pretty much about the same, although there are certain things that the MG30 will do better. For example, it has bias control for the amp. That's not available in the as an individual parameter inside of the MG400, but it's here in the MG30. The other thing too is that it's got a send and return on the back, and that means you can integrate this with other pedals. So that's something that does set it apart. Those are a few things that do set it apart. So hope you'll bear that in mind, but they're all meant for specific people. So you have an MG300. I will never dog the MG300. I've got mine right here, in fact. I've got my MG300 right here. And my MG300 is fantastic. It's a lot of fun to use. It's a little dusty right now because I haven't used it in a couple of weeks. But it's very dynamic. You can do amazing things with this. I have shown you literally just about everything you can do with the MG300 on my channel. So I invite you to watch those videos. But at $149, you'd be hard-pressed to find a better solution. And then you have the MG400, which is $219, and then you have the MG30, which is $299. And I do know that there is another question here I want to answer here. Let's go down. Well, somebody asked it if there was going. Oh, yes. Okay. Was this question from Jesus? I answered this earlier, but he asked, is there going to be an MG40? Look, to my knowledge, no. But again, I don't know. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. But I don't have any knowledge of an MG40 at this time. So there you have it. That's the best I can offer for you. Let's keep going down the list here. Oh, we can turn the music back on, can't we? Okay, there we are. Let's bring that back in. Give us a little boogie while we're doing some questions and answers. Okay. Okay, here's a good one. We need the drop. I need the drop too. We need a drop tune. We definitely need to do that. And I know that that's been suggested more often than not to the team. I can't tell you for sure if there's going to be one included at some point. There is a harmonization. There's a harmonization effect in the MG400 as well as the 300 and the 30. But I don't have any word yet on a drop. What's being referred to here is the Digitech drop pedal, which is a lot of fun actually. But Digitech's pretty much bye-bye for the moment, and so we're all kind of wondering what's going to happen there. But thank you very much for the questions. Okay, Diego's got a question here. What exactly the different output on the IRs or cabs? Okay, well, that's a very good question. So, in fact, I can actually bring the other screen back up here real quick. Let's bring the unit back in here. Let's flop these around so we can see them. There we go. Okay, so what you're asking about the different output modes. And the different output modes are simply put Studio Direct, combo front, stack front, combo rear, stack rear. And what happens when you're working with anything except the Studio Direct, it's going to turn off the impulse response, the cabinet, because you don't want that. You don't want the cabinet sound going into your amplifier, whether you're going into the front in the preamp or you're bypassing the preamp in the effects rear. You don't want that. So that's what it does, essentially. And then you can also adjust the EQ curve as well. And as I mentioned before, if you ever want to reset that, boop, there you go, back to square one. Okay, so there's that question. Okay, Andrew asked about the FRFR. I already answered that one. Here's another one. Diego asks, if I connect my guitar to the rear amp and choose that on the pedal, it connects the IRs, but no the preamp. No, it does not turn off the preamp. The preamp does not turn off. It simply turns off the impulse response, the cabinet. So there you have it. Okay. Okay, Andrew, playing live, you would use the studio input. Mm-hmm. Yep, that's how I would do it. Let's see. Okay, and in fact, actually, Hillbrook assisted here with. I've done that with my MG30, Andrew. I go into the Headrush 108, which is a great FR. We also make one called the PA50, which is pretty nice. This is great. You know, this is one of the things about my channel, guys, is that I have a lot of my frequent flyers here, like Andrew and Hillbrook Guitar Studio and other guys that come on in, and it's so appreciated that you're here and answering, asking questions and being part of the group. Let's see. Neil's Music wrote, I am loving the mic feature. Well, I am loving the mic feature too. That's one of the best things about it, is that you're not stuck with the say wrong window. You're not stuck with any old microphone for the cabinet, the impulse response. You could go here and you can change out to one of 4 different microphones, and then you can move it anywhere you want. So variation is the name of the game. All right, thank you for that. Okay, and my buddy Doug was here. Incredible tone. Thank you, Doug. I appreciate that. Let's see. Whoop. Okay, no muff. All right, here we go. Here's a question. All right, what are the chances of getting the orange amps in an upcoming update? That's a good question. I don't know, honestly, why we don't have the orange amps. I couldn't answer that for you right off the bat. I will say though, to be fair, a lot of the products, like say Headrush, Headrush didn't put an orange amp in for at least 2 years. So sometimes it does take a little while before you pop that stuff in. I do agree it would be great to have it in there, and I'm not saying it won't happen, but it will take. I'll look into it. I'll certainly look into it and see if I can give you guys any more approximation on that. I can tell you, for the MG300 users, there is an update coming for the MG300. So don't worry, we have not forgotten about you at all. There is going to be there's going to be an update soon. Okay, so thank you very much for the question. Okay, so Red, I will re-answer this question again because you asked it before. Can you use this as an audio interface to the computer? Yes, you can. It's a USB-C audio interface, so you can plug your guitar straight into your computer and use it as a recording interface for, say, Reaper, GarageBand, Pro Tools, whatever you seem to be working with. You can use it. There's an ASIO driver on our website for you to download, and it's as easy as it gets. Okay, let's see. So Neil has asked another question. So if I buy this new unit, I'm sure this question will come up, can I import some of my old settings from the MG30 to the 400? No, you can't. Unfortunately, no, they do not translate between them. But, it'd be great if we had a utility that did that. But we do get people that ask that question quite often. Unfortunately, no, in this case it doesn't. In fact, actually, we had the MG 300 and 400 in the same Facebook user group, and then we realized, well, you can't really translate them between the two, so we actually had to split that off to two separate Facebook groups, so it didn't confuse the compatibility between the two. But thank you for the question. Okay, Juka wrote, just finished my video on the MG400. Thanks, Nux. Hey, I look forward to seeing it. Make sure you let us know. I now have full control over pretty much all social media. So for us, it's pretty cool. I'll be able to we're supposed to start TikToking pretty soon. I'm not sure if I want to start doing silly dances with my guitar or something like that, but hey, we'll see what happens. I like JHS's TikTok channel. If you guys haven't watched that, those guys are fantastic. I love what they do, and it looks wonderful. Okay, Gregster asks a very loaded question, and I will answer it. Do you think this unit sounds better than the MG30? No, I think they both sound great, but the MG30 does sound different. It does with the bias. That's gonna make it sound different. There are more microphones with the MG30 as well. So no, unfortunately, no, I do not think it sounds better than the MG30. I think the MG30 is our flagship. And I love all of those products quite a bit. But I will admit that I'm having a lot of fun with the 400. It has been cool. And if you're familiar with the MG300, this should be a walk in the park for you. Or if you're familiar with the MG30, if you really want to get yourself a second processor or something, it's great. But no, I don't believe it sounds better than the MG30 because the MG30 has additional features on it. It has additional, additional parameters, microphones, all that good stuff. So I hope that answers your question. Okay, I think we're coming to the last one here. Okay, Juka wrote, scenes need to be updated so parameters can be changed from effects to effects. Yep, okay, yep, I've heard that one before too, several times in fact, and I agree with you. That would be a wonderful update to the 400. So if and when, we'll absolutely do something about that for sure. And anyway, this is so that's the end of the. Okay, here we go. So we got another question here. So yeah, so there we go. That's the okay. You know, after an hour and a half of doing this, you do lose a little bit of steam. Okay, Alan writes, do you think the MG300 will add at least one bass amp? I would love to upgrade to the 30 or 400 and use my 300 as a bass amp. You know, I don't honestly know. I really don't know if it will or not. Let me take a look though real quick. I'm gonna try to answer your question because that's what I like to do. I like to try to answer people's questions. Let's go in here to multi-effects and let's see if I can answer it for you, okay? Bear with. Now, right now, I don't see it. Yeah, I don't honestly know if there will be. I don't honestly know if there will be a bass amp there or not. We might, you know, at some point do it. Again, I mentioned that there is an update coming. I will ask and see if there is an answer to offer up. But yeah, I understand exactly what you're asking for. So I hope that helps. I know it probably doesn't, but I hope it does. I don't even know why I said that. Okay. Red asks, does Nux make an acoustic pedal? Yes, we do make an acoustic pedal. We make two pedals, in fact. Are they behind? In fact, one of them is back there. The Stageman Floor, and the Stageman Floor is a really good acoustic preamp. It's got chorus and reverb. It's got a simple looper built in. It's 149 bucks, and it is an amazing sounding amp. It's got a mid EQ scoop as well, and it sounds nice and warm, or it can sound prickly if you want to, depending on what kind of acoustic guitar you're plugging into it. And we also have the Optima Air, and the Optima Air is an acoustic preamp. It has a Neve 1073 emulation in there, which is worth the price of admission alone. If you've ever worked in a studio, a Neve 1073, don't leave home without it. And it also has impulse responses built in, so it will sound like you can make your electric or acoustic guitars sound like a Martin, a Taylor, a Gibson. It will work with piezo and magnetic pickups. It's amazing. It's got a marvelous reverb in it. It's 179 bucks, and it's one of our best-selling pedals. We've been selling that one for a couple of years now since the pandemic, and it's just been a really big seller for us. Okay, so let's see. We got another one here. Okay, Michael Oyo has been sending me the units. I'm thrilled. Thank you. Okay, cool. Please do keep sharing those presets there, Juka. I appreciate it. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing your first name right. All right, there were a couple of non-MG400 questions here. I'm going to go back to the beginning and see what we're doing here. See what we're working with. Okay. Sebastio, update the effects for the MG30. No promises. We'll see what we can do. But we're always updating the unit. We did put some new effects in with the latest update. And we will, I'm sure we will have some new stuff to share at some point. But we do have so many effects in there already. But I know how it is when you're a musician. More. I know. Okay, now there is a question here. Alex asked a question much earlier, right off the rip. Is this somewhat of an upgrade digital build of the Cerberus? No, it isn't. It is not a, it's not an upgrade to the Cerberus or some sort of build to the Cerberus. The Cerberus is its own beast. And I'm also going to go so far as to say that later in the year, towards Christmas, might be something to talk about with the Cerberus. Might be two things to talk about later in the year. I don't know, am I saying too much? I like messing with you guys. That's what makes this fun. Yes, there is going to be, there will be something to talk about later in the year. But no, the MG400 is not a replacement for the Cerberus at all. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. The Cerberus, if you've ever held the Cerberus before, it is built like a freaking tank. I mean, this thing, you can beat the tar out of it, and it's going to keep working. And I love that. I love that thing. It is awesome. It is so much fun to use. And I can't say enough about it at this point. So let's see. Ooh, we got some. Oh, look who's here! Look who's here! Mr. Butler. What up, Chris? How you doing, buddy? Chris is one of our frequent flyers here on my channel. Thank you very much for showing up, Chris. We've had a lot of chats on Messenger. I know I owe you some answers on your questions. We will talk about that soon. But let's see, what did I hope you're well. Notice that quietly dropped a crap ton of new mini core pedals. Yes, we did. Cast your mind 2 years ago to the beginning of COVID, and we the industry had a shortage of chips. And DSP chips, and it affected specifically our mini core pedals, as I recall. And so the mini cores were pretty much on borrowed time. Now you may or may not know this about Nux, but we actually have our own factory in Shenzhen. We make our own products. We don't buy stuff off the shelf in a factory. We have the factory, it's our factory. And in fact, we actually make products for other manufacturers and have done so for a very long time. You might notice that Fender tuner that came out this year looks suspiciously like a Cherub tuner. What was that all about, right? Anyway, what was my point? Yes, my point was we needed to update the mini core pedals. So we have a bunch of new ones that are on the way. They're actually on the water now from China. We will have them soon. We have the Voodoo Vibe. We have the Edge Delay. We have the Damp Reverb. We have the Pulse Impulse Response Loader. We have the Yukio Chorus. We have the SCF Stereo Chorus Flanger. That's coming out. And oh, that is true. They're stereo. They're mono and stereo. And they're USB-C. So it's really cool. And the damp, not the damp, I'm sorry. The Pulse can actually be used as an audio I/O as well. How about that? Little mini core pedal can be used as an audio interface. Did you know that about our products? A lot of our products actually double up as audio interfaces. For example, the Melvin Lee Davis pedal works as an audio interface. The what else? The Optima Air can be used as an audio interface. Obviously, you know the MGs can be used as an audio interface. So there's a lot of opportunity out there for you guys to just go direct into your computer and not go out of that into an audio interface and double up your noise potential. So keep that in mind. But yeah, definitely stay tuned. We will start talking about those pedals here on this channel very, very soon. I think you're gonna really dig the Voodoo Vibe, by the way. It looks awesome. And I'm so very jazzed to have that. And I will tell you that that's not our only destination this year for pedals. You might notice that a few of the core pedals have kind of gone discontinued. What could that possibly mean? I wonder. We'll find out. Okay, so Chris, there you go, thank you. And Chris also wrote a little follow-up here. Monterey Vibe went away. I know. But now it's the Voodoo Vibe. I got one though, looking forward to the Voodoo Vibe. All of them have a stereo in and out if you use TRS cables. Yep, that's right. So, and the cool thing is, you know, a lot of the other pedals out there from the other manufacturers, especially the ones from overseas, went up in price because of all the tariffs and all that fun stuff. And did you ever notice that our prices never actually went up all that much? Maybe in a couple of products it did, but everywhere else, not really. you know? That's one of the great things about owning your own factory. And that same thing goes for the mini core pedals. They only went up by a little bit. So $10 in fact, for the Voodoo Vibe and the Edge Delay and the Yukio and all that. They went from $69 to $79, so not a big deal. But the Voodoo Vibe will be here soon, and the Edge Delay too. And well, we'll have to see how that one goes because it's got an etching of the Edge on it. I'm wondering if Edge is going to have a problem with it, but hopefully he won't. Let's see. Is there any other questions? There's no other questions at this point. But I'll stick around for a few more minutes if you guys have any follow-up questions you want to ask. Let's see. Anything else that I may have missed? This is your time. This is your time to answer them questions. Ask them questions. Let's see. All right. Who else here? Okay, Reggie wanted to say, please endorse me. Haha. Yep. All right. Very good. Okay. All right. I'm still going through here and just seeing if there's any questions I didn't answer. But it looks like we answered most of the questions. Christopher does have another question here. Okay, is the MG400 basically the same DSP generation as the Amp Academy? You know, I can't tell you for sure because I'm not a DSP programmer, but I will say that they sound remarkably similar in nature. So I would say it's probable, although do keep in mind that the Amp Academy has a specific purpose that's a bit different than the MG400. The MG400 and the 300 and the 30, they're like that happy-go-lucky all-around sort of idea, whereas the Amp Academy is used as an amp, basically in place of an amp on your floorboard, so you don't have to schlep around an amp. So it is a little different. It has that DI output, so that does make it a bit different. So hopefully that will help you, Chris. Okay, so let's see what's going on here. Okay, I see we have lots of people out there still. So if there's any questions at this point, now's the time to ask it, and we'll answer away. Whoop, there we go. Oh, definitely not going to be sleeping tonight. Well, maybe I will. I don't know. I'm a little pooped at this point. Okay. So, Christopher. Somehow I missed the notification for this stream and I joined the Amp Academy. I love it. Thanks so much. I appreciate that, Chris. You know, I don't know why the notification didn't go out. Well, it depends. If you're on my YouTube channel or the Nux channel, YouTube channel, you want to make sure you hit the notification bell when you subscribe, so that when something new comes out on either of our channels, you'll be notified. If you're following us on Facebook as well, you should get a notification. I'm sure getting tons of them these days. So yeah, you should be able to see us there. Anyway, I think at this point, guys, we're pretty much good to go, and I am so very happy that you all chose to spend a part of your day with me here. We've now been at it for an hour and a half, and boy, it's been a great time for me, and absolutely, and I hope it's been a great time for you guys as well. And of course, I appreciate everything you guys have done for Nux over the years, and I'm very happy that you still come back to be with me at the pedal guy as well, so that we can trade riffs and we can have fun. I will tell you about one last thing before we go. And Neil, I can see your comment there. Thank you very much. Thank you for being here. One last thing before we go. Next week, tentatively, we are going to have our first in our series called Ask Nux. This session where I'll go in and I will compile questions that I receive through social media over the course. So if you have questions, you can submit them at Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. I'll see all of it. and I will take a select bunch of those questions and I will answer them in real time. But I'm also going to have one of our customers come online with me in real time, and we are going to build presets for the Nux Mg 30. A lot of people want to, I get a lot of questions all the time about how would I be interested in being hired to come and help people build patches? And I'd love to do it, but to be perfectly frank, I don't have the time to do it. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work I do here at Nux, because we only have 4 people in the office. I am one of 4, and I sound like a Borg when I say that. But nevertheless, it's kind of unethical for me to take money when I'm doing this for Nux as my full-time job. But what I decided to do was say, hey, how about this? Why don't you come online with me? Let's get into a restream, and I'll bring you in as a guest, and we'll build presets in real time. And then we can swap stories, we can have a little fun, we can make it really interactive, and make it almost like a tech support session. So this could be a really interesting thing. I hope you'll join us next Friday. It'll probably be next Friday in the afternoon. I'd love to see you there. If this is successful, we'll make it an ongoing series, and may give you a chance to be online with me. We can have a little fun with some of the Nux products. So I hope you'll join me for that. But for those of you who have additional questions and all that, you're welcome to send it. I'll be more than happy to answer them when I can. But for everybody, thank you so very much for being here. I appreciate it. I'm giving you a round of applause right now. Thank you very much for being here. We had a great show. We'll see you next time. And thank you so much for being here. I do truly appreciate it. It really does mean a lot to me, and it means a lot to us here at Nux that you're spending some time with us, and that you guys are so loyally devoted to our brand and our products. It really does. It's very touching. So, in any case, thank you so much, and we will see you next week.